goal. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello one and all, and welcome to episode number 95 of the Huddersfield Town Social, part of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Why have we even bothered to turn up tonight? I don't know, because Town certainly didn't turn up for 75 minutes on Saturday, did they? But if there's anything that we know about Huddersfield Town, is that over the last 6 years, they let the fans down with shocking consistency. But even the most pessimistic of fans couldn't predict the horror show that's to await us at Valley Parade after our first league game against the Chickens in 16 years. 2 awful goals conceded in added time in the first half put the game to bed. But it was a lack of any fight and worryingly lack of any ideas in the second half that had the Town fans raging. It's now Town's third league game away from home with 9 goals conceded, losing all 3. Is Lee Grant fight out of his depth away from home, or do certain players need to step up and take responsibility? And most importantly of all, will Herbie Kane ever deliver a decent corner? Well, we'll be discussing it all tonight. I'm Nick Barlow, and joining me tonight is Ian Kilroy, Gaz K, and Andy K. Welcome, everybody. Dean Ball, nice to see you, mate. Evening, lads. Corner time. Tell you what, I'd take Cole back in an instant in that side. We were never going to win at Valley Parade, Corner time says, but I didn't expect to lose like that. I don't think any of us did, mate. And I think we're going to be in for some serious group therapy tonight. There's going to be a bit of steam let off. I don't think we're going to be holding back. Get all your comments in, guys. If you've got any questions that you want us to address, get them in as well, and we'll discuss them. But I think the worst thing that I've seen and heard actually over the last few days is Mr. Ian Kilroy on the post-match show with Matt saying expect us to be extra pessimistic because we're older than he is, and I think that's got to be one of the worst takes I've ever seen. I'm younger than you are, mate. What's going on, mate? Why are you getting all these digs into us? I thought we were friends.
Just to make sure you listen to the end. I just like to keep you on your toes, keep you honest. That's what it's like. Deep block, turning you around every now and again, pinging one over your shoulder, lads. So
the DTS in the podcast world.
Just stay active. That's all it is, Nick. And to be fair, I didn't mean you. I meant the rest of them.
I mean, you're not wrong, to be fair, mate. We are miserable bastards, and it's not going to help with performances like that last Saturday, is it? Gaz, I tell you what, let's get our initial thoughts, because now we've had time to kind of calm down, process it. Obviously we're going to get into detail on the goals in the game, but I just want your initial thoughts, mate, after that, because I was I felt a bit numb after it, and I was really angry for a few reasons. But how are you feeling now, mate, after that? Because it's not the first time we've been let down, is it?
No, it's not. And I think like you, I was absolutely raging after the game on Saturday. Well, not because we Bradford were pretty functional as a team. I'm sure Ian will dissect their tactical now, so lack of it. But my mate who's a Bradford fan told me it all comes down right hand side. They play for set pieces and early balls into the box. So it shouldn't have been too hard to work out. We didn't seem to manage to work it out. We conceded 3 absolutely disgusting goals. I mean, as you say, Nick, the second and third are absolutely criminal, aren't they? And then the second half, it was almost like at half time we decided the game was lost. Let's just make sure we manage the next 45, get out with any injuries, and move on to the next. But our away form is the antithesis of our home form at the minute, and there was a lot of noise on social media about Lee Grant and is he learning, and I guess that's one of the things we're going to have to try and debate tonight. I think there'll be a bit of a split opinion in the room, but yeah, I would. Yeah. I think in the cold light of day, they've had absolutely killer home form over the last few years. We're giving it the old, our players are used to playing in front of big crowds, but it was a big crowd. They made a lot of noise, and once they scored, they really got behind the team. So, it's not the fact that we lost. I think for me, it was more the manner of the defeat and the fact that it's 3 in a row where we've turned in absolutely piss poor performances away from home and done fuck all about it.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's Matt says, does anyone know what Northern football is? Because I haven't seen anything in the last 5 league games that would meet my definition: passive, scared, no pace, no urgency, no aggression. Absolutely right, mate. It's bang on. It was embarrassing, to say the least. And another thing that was embarrassing before we even got to the game, I have to say, was Town and Bradford City fans throwing bottles at each other outside one at pubs, and kids crying in corner, scared. I think some fans, I think one of you posted, I don't know if it you, Ian, a couple of fans have been for some remarks over the fires or something. I mean, it's pathetic. Like, what are they doing? It's absolutely stupid, and it's people like that ruin games. Because I wouldn't take my kids away to Bradford for this exact reason. Because I mean, it's on both sides. It's just idiots, and I just think, yeah, it's a derby game, rivalry. Back and forth in the stands, fine. But when it comes to actually physically injuring people and having digs at, trying to get jabs in about bloody previous tragedies and stuff, come on, just give your heads a shake. But that's, I'm not going to focus too much on that. But another thing, Ian, I know Matt mentioned this on the show, post-show, about the kit as well that we turned up in. And in previous derbies, it's a derby game, obviously, you want to wear the blue and white, don't you? So when we rocked up in our sort of second-hand Leeds kit, we're all a bit scratching our heads. What we're doing here? And to me, I think there's a bit of a subliminal message in that we kind of tried to just treat this as just a normal everyday game, and people could argue positive on that. I'd argue that's a negative, because it wasn't an ordinary game. It's a derby game. It's a derby game that hasn't been played for 16 years in league, or however many years. It's something a bit special for fans. So why we're not in blue and white stripes, mate? I know we've got contracts and stuff, but surely there's enough scope to play the blue and white for games like this.
Yeah, you'd think so, especially with the same sponsors over all the 3 shirts that we've got. But somebody did mention something on the review show's comments on YouTube afterwards, and that the referees were in blue. So there is a potential issue that the referees' colour may have dictated what shirt we went in, and that's the only thing I can say. I'm with you, Nick. Whenever Town can play in blue and white, I'm a massive believer that you should play in blue and white, especially when the sponsorships are the same. If not, you understand it's a financial matter, and that is important. If it's going to cost us an extra player each year to have 2 different sponsors, meaning that when we do go away to these big games, we've got to wear the away shirt. That's fine, I get that. But in this situation, it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like it was a club decision to go with it. Which, yeah, I'm with you, Nick. It's a bit odd. I think I am a traditionalist when it comes to this. I'm not a traditionalist, is always 4-4-2, but when it comes to shirts, if we can always wear the home shirt, we always should wear the home shirt.
It's almost like we're rocking up thinking, well, we're just going to treat it as normal. We've got a great squad here. We've just got to turn up, pass it about, tippy tappy, and we'll take the 3 points. And then promptly fell flat on our faces because we didn't have the right attitude. And we'll get into the game now. But Jed Robinson, hello to you, mate. Good to see you as always. Midfield pathetic, says Jed. I can't disagree with you, mate, unfortunately. Terrier Jack thought the ref was wearing claret and amber, to be fair. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I don't think we can blame the ref for that result, though, mate, somehow. He says he's surprised you haven't been rested, killer, like Watmore, after not being on the last week's social. Yeah, we wheel him out for the big ones, mate, for the big discussions, don't worry.
To be fair, Jack, I'm only here because I'm still frothy, mate. I thought at this point, right, after recording Monday night with Matt, I'd be all right. And I thought I'd be chill. I would get it all out my system. No, I've not. I've sat through today 4 seasons of Robbie Cummins' Canal Boat Diaries on you to try and chill out. I love a good canal boat, right? And I got through it at the end of it, and I'm thinking, I still don't feel any better. So here I am tonight, putting a shift in. Not quite ever present, but as close to it as I can be. I just thought I'd be less frothy with what happened on Saturday, but I'm really not. It was really, really poor.
You don't half watch some weird shit, mate. Honestly,
don't diss it. Hey, don't diss it until you watch it. It's unbelievable. Gaz likes a good pottery throwdown, don't you, Gaz? We all need our own little avenues away from football to calm ourselves down after we sit through
repair shop,
horrid.
all that stuff.
Mate.
There you go. When we have to sit through the torrid football, what else can you expect, Nick? I think it might do you some good, actually. Maybe this is something we should look at.
Football's supposed to be escapism from everyday life, innit? Because life's hard. You need fucking escapism from football where we play, and it's escapism from escapism, innit? Corner time says we didn't even start off that bad. To be fair, Joe Taylor should have scored in that first half. Let's get on to that then, because we did start all right. First 15 minutes, we got at him. Castledine were getting some joy. We were getting some space in the middle of the park, driving forward. The end product were dog shit as usual. Taylor hits the bar, a deflected shot, which was unlucky. But then we seemed to take an age to make a decision. And I think Arnis was similar, where he got into a decent position, but just dwelt too long on the ball. I think we need to make decisions quicker. We're in those attacking areas, and hopefully that'll come. But, give it 15 minutes. I'm watching thinking, maybe actually we've quietened the crowd down. They were a bit quiet. We forced 8 corners. How shit were Kane's corners, by the way? Kane and Ruskin's corners. I mean, he should never take one again, should he? Why did we persist on both of them taking them when none of them was amounting to anything? But we had that, and after 15 minutes, so I'm thinking this is going to be a foregone conclusion. We've done really well here. We've started well. We've quietened them down, which is always difficult. And we're going to control the game. And then obviously we'll get to the goal. But I was quite pleased, Ian, the way that I won't keen on team selection at all. But the way we started was complete opposite to how we have in previous games. It was actually on the front foot and positive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the few positives from the game. I thought that the tempo was right. I think tactically we were very, very wrong. I thought the team selection was pretty much a joke, to be totally honest. It's not that I didn't expect it. I kind of did expect it to be this, but I just think there's too many players in our team now that should have been dropped quite a few games ago, yet I kept giving extra chances, and I don't see why. I think that when there's other options available, a bit of it's not making sense. 30 seconds it took for Baldwin to ping the first ball over towards Sorensen that Bradford kind of went on the aggression with. And from that moment on, you knew exactly what was going to come. We knew what was going to happen. Everyone in the stadium knew what was going to happen. It just felt like the only people that didn't adjust defensively to it were Town. It was just that first 18 minutes, the tempo were fine going forward. I think Castledine has been the standout player over the last few games, pretty much of any team we've faced, not just our best player, but anyone on the field. And again, he starts bright laying those nice little pockets. Problem is, everyone else adjusts to that. If you have something good, other teams try and adjust to stop it being effective. The only team that doesn't seem to adjust at the moment is us. And whilst, yes, it was better for 18 minutes, it's 18 minutes. Games aren't won in the first 18 minutes when it comes to Huddersfield Town, but we make it hard for ourselves. And when we have moments of nothing but sheer panic, we can lose it in 15 minutes. And we've done that more than once this season. It's just a shame that the increase in tempo, that little bit of fire, not heavy tackling fire, but a little bit of direction, came into it when we had such a weak point that no matter what we did on the ball, when we're so poor off the ball, it wouldn't matter how good we were going forward because we were always going to be in trouble at the back because of the way we were set up. And I know that's not exactly what you asked, Nick, but I can't look at any part of this game without considering how poor that back four choice was. And even the two lads in front of it, it was off from the start, even though, tempo were a bit better.
It's hard though, mate, isn't it? Because I think Sorensen, it ain't the type of game for Sorensen, is it? I think Gooch plays if he's fit, but he ain't fit, is it? And this is a problem we're kind of left with Sorensen. There's not really another option. I suppose Kasumu can play right wing back, right back. He's done that before, hasn't he? But I think realistically, it was going to be Sorensen, wasn't it? And I think if we had Gooch and Watmore in there, do we look different? I think probably. I think we're more solid, but it is what it is, isn't it? One thing I did notice was Alexander. We're about 16 minutes in. They were struggling, and then he brings Cook on for a warm up down the edge of the pitch, and it just bumped up that atmosphere again a little bit. People start to get behind the team, and I thought, do you know what, that's a manager, a bit of nous there, a bit of experience, just these little bits there, just to try and get the crowd going again. And I think the team responded to that. And then we get to the first goal where it's Andy. I'll ask you about it, mate, because I mean, first of all, Baldwin puts a great crossfield ball. And Sarcevic, I don't think we're anticipating it. He does a great little flick onto Norville, and he miscontrols it. Luckily, it drops to, I think it's Swan. So there's a bit of luck there. But Swan squares it. Who's picking pointing up? It's just complete space on his own. I mean, I could have scored it. Let's be honest. I know. Everyone's praising Pointing and what a great game. But the goals he scored, I could have scored them, to be honest. Nobody picks him up at all. It's really poor defensively from our point of view, isn't it? Like I said, good flick from Sarcevic, but I just thought Rowan down that side and Ruskin were shocking. And I think Sorensen, I don't think it's his job to pick him up initially, but he just doesn't go with him. He's just stood in no man's land, and Poynton's just on his own to tap it in, mate. Looked offside, but it don't matter, does it? End at dates. It's 1-0.
Couldn't tell, because obviously I were in the away end, I were at the bottom tier. They couldn't really tell whether he was onside or offside, and it's all being played out in front of you, so it's difficult to work out what's really going on. But it was simplicity. There was that flick from what's his called, Sarcevic, was that unlocked everything. I think we've tried to do that on a few occasions this season and got something from it. But yeah, everybody seems to get drawn towards the ball, and then just Bobby, I hate Huddersfield. I've never seen them play against my team in my lifetime. Handballs in at the back post. I'm not so sure about the ref wearing claret and amber. I think he gave us absolutely everything in that first 18 minutes or so. And I said to George, we need to score here. But with the quality delivery from the corners, it was never going to happen. It was dreadful. Harness kept doing exactly the same thing, and I'm thinking he was going to get a different result. He kept turning inside onto his right, and I don't know who was marking him, but they just kept clattering him, and it kept making him look a bit of a mug. He pulled out a couple of decent assists, sort of, for Joe Taylor and for, I can't remember who else it was that ran through. But apart from that, that's one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a Town shirt, was Harness, that first half, and he got laughed off when he got subbed off. I think it was just after half time. There was a big cheer, and you could see him look over to stand and thinking, well, what's gone on there? Well, that's how bad you were, mate. The worry for me was when we rocked up. You can see him warming, sat outside warming up and doing this. There's Redmond there with his bloody headset on, just sat like he's having a sit-in park type of thing. There's Lowe and somebody else. Might have been Murray Wallace. And you're looking at them and you're thinking, how up for this are you? Because they were just having a little skeg round and, I've not been here before. It was quite nice. Yeah, it's two big sands. It don't match, but it's fine. And there was just something about their demeanour through the end. And Herbie Kane saying in the day before that, saying, it's just another game. It's not another fucking game. It's a derby that hasn't been played for 19 years, and we expect something from you lot on that pitch to show that you give a shit about that shirt that you're wearing. And there was nothing that appeared on Saturday that said that they gave a shiny shit about it, and that's a concern for me. I think there was that brilliant call in one they're into Radio Leeds where they broke absolutely apoplectic about everything, and fair dues to him. I agreed with a lot of what he said. But Bradford were 100%, the crowd and everything. It looked very tasty, as you said, on the way as we were going in the coach, on the way up whichever road it is that comes out of Bradford Town Centre. It looked a bit lively on there as we were going on. They were proper ready for that. I've had 19 years frothing to get ready for it. So you can't blame them for making it I didn't think it was a particularly hostile atmosphere. But they cared. How much did our lot care? I don't know. And that worries for me. We expected a response after half time, and I know we'll get to that, and we didn't get it. But it was just haphazard. It was lackluster. It was just the simple stuff that you would expect us to have to do to defend a goal. We just couldn't do. Murray Wallace shouldn't be in the team. Ruskin shouldn't be in the team. Sorensen shouldn't be in the team. And I know you guys had talked about it on the preview show in terms of worries about not having Watmer and not having Gooch. And you were absolutely 100% right. And at half time, loads of people leaving. What's the point in staying? We were never going to come back. I think there's an element of Bradford did play well. They did what they did really, really well. Credit to them. They were by far the better team on the day. It's just so preventable. And I think it was Harry Holland putting down the just saying that they wanted it more, and that's inexcusable for me. They said something. What was it? There was a derby that was on, because it seemed to be a lot of derbies. There was somebody had brought in 2 ex-players. It was the Southampton Portsmouth derby. They brought in Matt Letizier and somebody else who was a bit more sensible to tell the players the importance of the derby. yeah, not the COVID jab or anything like that. And we've seen lots of people masquerading as humans when they're really aliens and all that type of stuff. But they'd had 2 ex-players in to say how much this means, and it was a damp squib of a game, wasn't it? But that, I don't know whether we got the message across about how important that game was, and that's a worry for me.
Well, I guess sorry, Andy, we're going to get on to Grant, I guess, and his picking of teams. But I worried when Wallace was in, and that first goal, it was so easy. Tashvich went 5 yards. Wallace just fucking followed him, left a massive hole. and there's a bit of bad luck in some ways, because the pass inside to Swan, it's a complete mistake. The bloke tries to control it. It's a terrible touch. Swan's offside and Pointer offside, but the linesman is done by. In fairness to the linesman, he was also done by the touch, so he was so far behind play he couldn't get back. So I actually, for once, I think the official couldn't do anything about it. But Harness let him run. Harness let Pointer, and by the way, I've never heard of fucking Bobby Pointer before Saturday.
No,
apparently he's a world superstar now, according to the Radio Leeds. Have you seen that fucking nonsense? And all Radio Leeds now have got a podcast.
Don't.
On the Leeds one, they've got a bloke out of Kaiser Chiefs. They've got somebody reasonably famous on that one. For the Bradford one, they've got the bloke with the Trump tan that presents the weather on Look North, haven't they, on the Bradford one? Have you seen that?
Oh, not weather guy, is he?
Yeah. Well, he's one of those that bought a 25-year season ticket off Jeffrey Richmond just before they went bust. So I don't know if he's still trying to claim that back or not. But I think what frustrated me was that it was really, as you said, it was real. And honestly, I actually don't think A, they were that great, and B, I don't think they played that well. But let's be honest, they didn't have to. The first 18 minutes, we controlled the game, but we never looked like scoring. I know Taylor had that one off the bar, but we played a lot of football, and I think all of a sudden they realised, as a lot of teams do when they play down, actually we can fucking get this lot. And the first goal just convinced them that they were in it to win it. And you're right, Andy, they wanted it more than Town. And that was demonstrated in the second half. But I don't think they could believe their eyes in the second half, the way we performed. But yeah, I was really pissed off with the lineup. We're not professional football managers, but all 4 of us would have picked Watmore over Gooch. I would have picked Feeney over Gooch. There's not one of us would have played Wallace in that game. Sorry, over Wallace, excuse me. Not one of us would have played Wallace in that game. And we're not professional football managers. So what the fuck was Grant looking at?
It's stupid, isn't it? That's the part that really bothered me. That's the part with Wallace, especially with Sorensen playing right back. You knew we were going to have a tough game, but there wasn't too many options available, right? So with Sorensen starting, you kind of like, oh, okay. I think somebody mentioned Feeney has played 4 games and we've conceded 1 goal, apparently. And now that will need checking, right? And I know there's weaknesses with Feeney that he turns off, and positionally he's sometimes not even on the ball. He's not totally fantastic. Did he not start against Blackpool? I'm trying to think if that's accurate in my head. I can't entirely remember who he started against, but somebody said that it had to have some sort of pace, because the lack of pace at centre-back was always going to kill us. And this is, again, where I really struggle with the entire game plan, because that lineup was so wrong. It's unacceptable how wrong that is. I don't think you can accidentally get that one wrong. It's stupid. That team selection was stupid. And that's not a nice thing to say about a team selection. But like, when you see and have seen the way Wallace has defended over the last few games, he's not what Wallace was last year or the year before or whatever he did at Millwall and was highly revered for. Or he definitely isn't when he's next to Joe Lowe. those two can't play together at centre-back. That was the main point that we tried to put across last week, in that they're both similar in what they can do well, which is head the ball, although there was moments in this game they didn't do that either. But together, they just don't work. They're both muscle men. They're both big lads that can head the ball, but they need somebody who's an athlete next to them, or somebody who's a brain, like Watmore is. He's not the fastest. He's physically quite limited, but his brain is elite again at this level. So he makes up for it. Instead, we went with those two, and we had to play so deep. And it was just like I say, that first goal was so easy for him. There was so many mistakes. Trying to break it down, there's about 15 different mistakes in every single goal. And I'm with you guys. It didn't look like we were up for it. It didn't look like we were up for it. And that's another major issue. And now, again, early part of the season, only a few games in, you've got to learn from it and move on. But from the moment that first goal went in, I thought Bradford were really good. I loved the way they were set up. And I don't like a back three, so it's not the formation that got it for me. But it was the way that they did everything right. Every small little thing you can do to improve your chances of scoring and therefore winning a game. Alexander had him doing them from the off. We don't have that. Maybe we will get there in time. I don't see us trending that way. But with the way Bradford played, they looked to me, guys, like a team a bit like Wycombe last year, or a bit like Leyton Orient last year. Not quite as technically good as Leyton Orient, because some of their individual players were fantastic. But a team that's a proper team and that will do well all season long because they are well drilled. Individually, we are miles better than them. I think if you're looking at our player for player comparisons, the abilities that our guys have got and the money we've spent on them and where their careers will go from here and where they've already been will be greater, more or less to a man, than what Bradford City have. But on that first goal, up until that first goal, you can see how well drilled they are. And in League One, that's what matters. It's being able to adjust your own game plan to what you're facing because your players are inconsistent. But secondly, it's just getting the most out of every single moment that you can. Sending in Cook down for a run to get the fans geared up, because it might give your players that little bit of a lift. It might make them jump a little bit higher, a little bit harder for a header from a corner. That's what you need to do. And now we haven't done that at any point yet this season because we haven't had to. We've relied on the ability of individuals to create individual moments and save us from poor performances in large segments of games. Bradford don't need to do that because they're at it from the off. And I found myself pretty jealous seeing that. We had it under Carlos Corberán. Individually, we weren't as good as some of the other teams in the Championship. And that's a world away from the division that we're in now. I understand that. But even under Warnock, you had moments where we just brought out some little bit of brilliance, a little bit of a delayed run or whatever it is, something by design, where we were making the most of what we had. Instead, we had to sit through the worst selection of corners I have ever seen without us even trying to change the corner taker or the technique in the corner. I can't tell you how much that pissed me off as well. Irving Kane, man, honestly, what are they practicing with corners? What are we doing on that? In first man every time? Is that the design play? Let's ping it to first man every time. And I know eventually we scored from one, but it was Alpha May that came on and that sorted that one out. It was just, again, these little moments, I feel like we're being so passive in so many different aspects of the game. And then you can see Bradford, limited budget compared to what we've got. And nothing's passive. Everything's by design. And that's what I expect at our football club. I think it takes a lot of work. I understand that, but it's quite easy in that it's not something that costs you millions. It's just work, a little bit of intelligence. And at the moment, we're not there yet with it. And if we don't sort that shit out quickly, we'll struggle at times this year when it comes to these kind of games, because teams that are well drilled against us, that takes away that advantage you have when you're individually better player by player. Teams like Bradford will struggle with all year. And okay, the next two games are okay, but then you've got Bolton, and then you've got Luton, and you've got, who's the other one thrown in there? I can't remember the third one. Stockport. They're all going to be well-drilled teams, and we're going to have to be at it much better than we were against Bradford.
Problem is, we keep saying this. We said this after Barnsley, didn't we? And it's just rinse and repeat. It's switching off, making stupid mistakes, and you only do that when either mental fatigue or you're just not on it. And you can't not be on it, not in a derby like that. I mean, I still maintain that it means more to Bradford, that game, than it did to us. But it's still a big local derby, and they just didn't look like they cared at all. There was zero response from that first goal. As soon as that first goal went in, it were like, we're down tools. We thought, well, we don't know what to do here. It were just, I don't know. They just look shell shocked. And I haven't listened to that pod, guys, that Bradford pod, but I did listen to another one, because I like to kind of gauge what the fans were saying. And they actually took time to comment on how surprised we were in Town's approach and just lack of effort and energy. And, you know, when you've got the opposition fans saying 1,000,000% we wanted it more than them, it's embarrassing. Yeah. Because effort doesn't cost anything.
On that Radio Leeds one, one of them was saying that, excuse me, spoke to his mate who was a Barnsley fan and had said, I can't believe how overhyped Huddersfield are. They said, and having seen him in the flesh, I completely agree. So, you know, that's not a great place to be, is it, when other people are calling us overhyped as a team?
Thing is, we'll probably win most of the home games, and we will be up there because we've got such a good squad. We've got people that can come off the bench second half and save us, like we did against Peterborough and Donny. So we will win some games, but it's not just about that. You've got to go into these kind of games with desire and just show the fans. You know, again, sold out. Could have sold it out twice over. Paying a lot of money to travel down and watch.
Don't say that, you'll piss Gaz off because he weren't there.
No. To be honest, I was over the moon at 5:05 when I sat on the sofa.
When you weren't there, yeah.
So I didn't have to come home, and dodge the bottles of paste on Manningham Lane that people were throwing at you.
That Ledson down at Reading came over before the start of the game because I think we were defending the goal that we were behind and gave it a big come on to an Alt Town fans lifted and it was a good moment. I thought, that's quality. That I like that. Didn't come anywhere near us. There's 2,500 fans sat it back at Middle Road and what's the Dallas stand or whatever it's called. Didn't come anywhere near us. And it just felt like it was another game to go through the motions through for them, and there was just something missing. And I think we talked about it now as my beloved Lee Grant had his honeymoon period. I think he's now at the edge of it. He's now at the airport getting ready to fly home, and I think he's talked about this being a learning phase. I think he's got it in his head that he's got his first sort of 17, 18 games are a learning phase. When he starts to learn stuff, we need to see the result of that learning now. And I think the rotation has been part of trying to work out best combinations and stuff like that. So I'm giving him the positive view on it, that he's trying to find the best 11 and trying to do in-game stuff. Like he's brought players on, did it at Reading, we were 0-0, brought subs on and you know, we win 2-0. So he has made some good decisions. That was a real worry for me on Saturday, because it didn't look like we'd learned anything from the previous 2 away games. You know, Barnsley, they threw it away with Owen Goodman. We had a mad 15 minutes. Well, we had a mad 60 minutes against Bradford. I thought the first 15, 20 and the last 15, 20, we were all right, but the bit in the middle, he's got to show that he's learned and he can do something about it. And I'm afraid for me that the honeymoon period is over, and it's about time we start to see. We've got to dominate a team. We've got to put somebody to absolute sleep, and we haven't done it yet. And I think with that quality of team and the energetic Northern football style of playing that he said he was going to provide for us, we're due. And we're due it in a big game soon. So I'm not saying get rid, absolutely not, and I don't think he will. I think he needs to be given the full season. But you've had because I put it in our group chat, didn't we? About, I think he had 17 games if you include all the pre-season friendlies, won 9, drawn 5, won 9, drawn 3, lost 5. So he's trending in terms of, if we're going to pick up on the management speak that Mr. Kilroy's using there. That he's trending all right for me. If you repeat that through the rest of the season, I don't think he gets us automatically promoted. It might get us in the playoffs, but we have to be looking at automatic promotion for me. And I'm not seeing, certainly didn't see on Saturday, any results of any learning from the previous away games that we've had.
Well, I had a look on, because I'm a dullard, I had a look on Saturday. And over the last 5 seasons, if you lose more than 8 games, you don't get promoted automatically.
Don't get promoted,
We've already lost 3. We've already lost 3. And we're not even in double figures of games yet. So, pro rata, we're going to lose, 15 games? I'm fucking lucky to get in playoffs. And my fucking top 2 are 15 losses. So yeah, and I mean we've been talking now 35 minutes. We haven't got to second fucking goal yet. But
yeah. I better move it along.
You probably put it off. It's so terrible that you can't bear to talk.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't, because they get worse. Every goal gets worse.
Oh God, yeah,
absolutely do.
Right, come on then. Second goal, throw in. It's a good ball in, but again, it's flicked on and pointing again. It's completely unmarked at back post and puts it in, and Sorensen's in no man's land again. Ian, can you explain to me what Sorensen is doing there and why pointing?
You know what though, Nick? It's not even the Sorensen thing. Even the biggest fucking issue with that entire thing. The first issue is you've got a throw in. We've got every man, I think, apart from maybe one behind the ball. We've got at least 9. I read Chickens' article, which I don't do all the time, but I did this time. And I think he says we had 9 behind the ball, right? How, if that's the case, do you let somebody take a throw in to a receiver that's free and don't send anybody out to help Ruskin close him down?
Yeah.
It's criminal. That defending from Town from that throw-in is fucking criminal, and it's unacceptable for so many. It's easy to just send a second man out. You just send somebody out to stop the cross. It's League One. Goals are scored from crosses. You can't allow them to get an easy cross in. Instead, Ruskin has to kind of go back and forth. And for once, it's not his fault. And now a lot of things are his fault, such as a lack of effort or great wing play going forward. But this is not on him. He shouldn't have been on his own. And I'm not entirely sure, but Herbie Kane's the closest man. So there's a possibility that he should have been the guy to go out and get him. It doesn't. All right, so that's the first issue. There's no way you should allow a throw to come in and it be worked in for an easy cross. Secondly, we've got 4 guys around Sarcevic who heads the ball. Four Town guys, because we've gone with a zonal marking system, which isn't working for starters, and that's going to be something I'll go into in the next couple of games if it comes up again. But we love playing zonal defense, and we didn't initially. We went high press, man for man across the field, and kind of didn't zonal it at times. And to me, that's a big reason why we were so much better in the earlier games. And now we've adjusted a little bit. This Northern football high press stuff isn't there, because I don't think anyone can pretend that the high press is exactly the same as it was. It's not, and that's a big reason why Ruskin doesn't look anywhere near as effective, because the best thing he offers us is in that high press. He wins the ball back a lot up top because he's fast and he's good at anticipating that. Not too much else, but that he is good at. We've stopped that. But anyway, ball comes in, zonal marking. One guy beats 4 of them. Wallace is on him. He should have got there. That's what he's there for. He can't run too well. He can't do much other than head it and tackle and use his brain, we hope. And he misses that header, and then Sorensen's left at the back. And it was Harness's man, Poynton was Harness's man initially, and now there's a little bit of swapping going on. And I think Swan swaps, and then Harness passes him on. Sorensen is at fault. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say he's not at fault, but there's some mitigating circumstances in this zonal system. We're letting people swap, and this is the problem with the zonal marking system at the back. You've got to be perfect at the right times, because if not, you've got a guy that's free like that. And it was just a shit show. That goal's an absolute shit show. And what I struggle with the most is the goal after this, obviously 19 seconds after the restart. You understand that that's a bit of you're shell-shocked, you're frustrated or whatever, and it shouldn't happen, and it's unacceptable in its own way, in its own right. But the way we're set up for this, I know we are 1-0 down in a derby, the game's not gone at that point, but we've totally switched off in about 3 different departments here. You can't do that. A team going for a promotion in any division can't be like that. We are so far off it in these moments. And what really gets me is these moments are happening all the time. This isn't just like one bad game where you can sit there going, oh, we've won so many, then when you lose one, you're like, oh, crap, and you can get overreactive and whatnot. That's fine. But even in games we're winning, we're having moments like this. We conceded 2 against Peterborough, for goodness sake, and they'd only scored 2 all season up to that point, right? These moments of stupidity are happening far too often. They're not freak accidents. They're not kind of just coincidences. Every team has the ability to play well. And now you ain't going to go through a season perfect defense and not concede goals. That doesn't happen. Of course, you're going to concede goals. But if you're serious and getting promoted, you can't concede 3 goals in the way that we are doing time and time again and expect to be relevant come May. You just can't be. It don't matter how many millions you spend on your strikers. It don't matter if you're bringing 6 centre defenders or if you're bringing so many loans of number 10s that individually are fantastic. If you can't sort that shit out, it's pointless, the rest of it. This is where teams start. This is where you should be building from. These are the moments that you can't allow to happen. But Town are doing it week in and week out, and I don't see any improvement in any aspect of it. What I'm seeing is teams are working out this is what we like, and they're actually pinpointing it and trying to target that. And we've got no answer for it just yet. I think these next 2 games, even though they're not as difficult as the ones to come, are going to be massive to see what Burton can do against our weaknesses, which are, to me, pretty evident at this point. But that second goal's an absolute joke.
Well, the third one, the only word I could come up with on Saturday was unprofessional. 2-0, we're in the game, right? So it's a fucking ill, but we're in the game. 3-0, game's dead. How unprofessional is it to give the ball away from your own fucking spot kick, your own centre kick, to let them score inside 10 seconds? I mean, I can't.
It's that ball, guys. It's the ball from Kane. So the ball goes back, I think, to Kane, and it looks like he can't be arsed, and he just lofted one to Sorensen, and Sorensen heads it forward to no one. Harness should have been there, to be fair, but that first ball from Kane is lazy. There's no one near Sorensen. That ball should not have gone from him from the kickoff, and that tells you everything that happened in that goal, doesn't it?
Unprofessional. He should have been stuck into the corner flag down there and seen us into half-time. Because if we'd have gone in at 1-0, we had a chance. You're going at 2-0, it's a struggle. But we've got enough strikers on the bench to try and turn a game. 3-0, fucking game's gone. I mean, it was so unprofessional, that goal. And I think that then reflected in the second half performance. The way they conceded that goal for me continued for the second 45 minutes. Bar Alves and young Redmond, who actually looked like they were interested when they came on. The other 11 didn't give a shit. And I can't believe there's only 1 sub at half time, by the way. I know I'm probably talking on where we want to go, but I can't believe there's only 1 sub at half time. That's a joke.
Massive joke, mate. I was going to mention that. Again, though, Killer, like you said, there's players in the box. There were 6 Town players in the box for that third goal when it goes in, and there's 2 or 3 Bradford players. So how's Bradford play? How's he got to it? It's absolutely shite. And like I say, 2-0, actually, you get an early goal, second half. Anything can happen, can't it? Momentum swings, they get a bit nervy, start sitting back. And we've got players that could go on and change it. But I said to myself at the time when we were 1-0 up, I said, right, don't do all fucking stupid. Just see it out till half time, keep it tight, regroup, and then push on it second half. Because we are way better in second half than we are in first half. We always are. So we're always going to be in game. But then you do that, game's dead, and he sends them out early. After half time, and you're thinking, right, there's going to be wholesale changes here because we've got no to lose. Get Arnis off, get Ruskin off, get Alfie May on, get Alves on, maybe Redmond on. And he makes one change, and you're thinking, what's he doing? Why? If any game called for multiple substitutions at half time, it was that game. We're 3-0 down. It's desperation. We'll do anything to try and get back in game, and he makes one substitution. And then, I mean, I don't think we did out for at least till 65th minute, 70th minute. We were so passive. Bradford just pressed his eye, just kept us penned in. We just couldn't get out. And if anyone were going to score, it were Bradford. Swan hit the bar after being put through. That should have been 4. And we're still arsing about, passing it across back and forth against a team who are well known to press high, that score most of their goals from opposition mistakes in passing it out from back. And this is my concern here as well with Grant, is that he ain't changing it. When it's not working, everybody could see that it wasn't working. He brings Radulovic on, which, all right, there's not many fans of Bojan at Town, but at least he gave us, when we eventually started lofting an high ball in, he did win the odd flick on. It did, we did start pushing them back a little bit, and it made it. But it's too late. Should have been doing that right from the off, not at 70 minutes in, when game's dead and buried. And we get the goal. Surprise, surprise, we whip a decent ball in from a corner, first time all game, and it leads to a goal. Alfie May. I don't know why May isn't starting. I don't like this formation. I've got to be honest, because Taylor was isolated again on his own. Alfie May can't play because Taylor, to be fair to him, has been in decent form. But I just think both of those, we've got 2 strikers that play better, 2 up top, but can't really play together. And we're kind of in a difficult situation. But to me, May needs to be starting, because when he came on, actually, we did have a bit more threat going forward. We did at least cause them 1 or 2 problems. But it's too little, too late. It was like a slow death. That second half, everyone sat there just willing it to be over. Just nothing happening whatsoever. It were one of the most frustrating hours of football I've seen in a long time.
That's how it felt, though. It felt like Town gave up at half-time. They didn't want to lose worse. It just felt like we'll make a change, but that's it. And nobody wanted to be there. For all the talk of we'll always work, Northern football, all this kind of stuff, that second half, whatever Northern football is, that is not it, surely. Oh, well, grim. If it is grim up north, maybe that does count. But apart from that, it just felt like nobody wanted to be there. Town didn't want to get embarrassed too much. They were just happy to kind of take the whooping that it was at that point and just move on. And it's sad. It's sad that that's the case. Only 9 games into the season, but that's where we found ourselves. And you always do have to look at the bigger picture. So I do understand it somewhat, but again, it's not derby football. That is it. It's not derby football. It's not get you off your seats football. It's not. Oh, it don't give you much hope. That's what it don't give you. It kind of just depresses you. And maybe we're all a little bit scarred from it from the last few seasons. Maybe that's why we take it harder than everybody else seems to at other clubs. But no, I thought Bradford, as soon as he came out of the second half, I thought they'd take the foot off the gas. I thought they'd sit back. I thought they'd do what we'd probably do. And they didn't. They didn't at all. They just kept going. They kept going in a way that they didn't have to kind of step up too many gears, but they just put enough in it to give us no chance of getting back into it until it was too late. With the 2 striker thing, Nick, and the systemic issues that you have, and I think Taylor had to play, had to start because he scored well previously and in the last few games. It's tough to drop him, and if you're a striker and scoring goals, if you are dropped and you're a confidence kind of player that I think Joe Taylor is, he had to start. But we are a different outfit when Alfie May plays. We are. We defend from the front when he's in there. Taylor, not all pressing's equal. You can chase a defender if you want, but Taylor is never going to be that pressing striker, whereas Alfie May knows exactly how to do it and creates turnovers, high up the pitch, and we look better when that happens. So we do look better when Alfie May plays. For me, from here on out, if Alfie May is fit, he starts every game, even if he ain't scoring, because he is that influential to how we work in that final third. And nobody else in our team does that. Nobody else does that. But when May plays, everyone lifts. Everyone else looks better. The real issue for me is the centre midfield. It's not the front line, bar Alfie May. I think that's an easy thing to fix, and you just bring him straight in. But we're getting to the part of the season now where the pitch is getting a bit heavier, the legs have got more miles in it, and then you're looking at Ledson and Kane thinking, have they got the engines now to run it at this point of the year? Has their form dipped a little bit? And is that an issue? Because I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again now, in that teams' performances to me come down to how good your engine room is, how good your midfield is. It's not sexy. It's not beautiful. You don't sit there going, whoa, look at him. It's an amazing tracking back, or he's won that second phase play. Brilliant. Well done. It doesn't. But when it's not there, you can't control games and you don't create chances in the correct way. They're the passes that lead to the pass that lead to the assist kind of thing. And for me, looking at the system, the defence is the biggest issue. Of course, it is the pace of it. But the midfield's not working either. So no matter who's up top at the moment, they're going to have it much tougher. And I think that's why you're looking at Harness and Ruskin and seeing how far off it they suddenly are. And it's because of what's going on in that midfield. But we said this would happen. We said you get a few games into this season, you'd see League Grant football. It becomes somewhat predictable. It always does. And this lopsided, predictable lineup in certain positions is being targeted now. And it's how we can react from it. Because like you say, Nick, after half time, I expected a response and it just didn't look like we had one. It wasn't that we weren't trying, even though we weren't trying that much. I don't think we've got it. I don't think we've got it just yet. And I don't think we had any options to do it on Saturday.
It worried me that Alves didn't touch the ball for about the first 15 minutes when he came on. And we were looking at him going, well, he's a brilliant player. Let's get the ball to him. But they just couldn't get the ball to him. Whether that was and then he moved inside into number 10 rather than being on the wing when Redmond came on, and he had a bit more of it. And that's when we started to look half decent. When Alfie May frustrates me a little bit is that he doesn't seem to hit many. There was a chance he had at the edge of the sort of right edge of the area as you're looking at the goal he was shooting into, and instead of hitting it first time, he seems to take it right one more step and then try and hit it. And he did it, and somebody got back and sort of either blocked the shot or cleared the ball. But just nothing happened. I thought like you, Killer. I thought they'd just sit back and go, right, we're 3-0 up. You can do what you like, lads. You're not going to get back. You're not going to catch back a 3-0 goal, 3-0 lead. Sorry. And we just didn't seem to have any energy with it. At one point, we had a break. We came down the left-hand side and we got to the edge of the area, and it was like one of those perfect things where you've broken on the opposition and you need to do something sharpish. And because we didn't have any pace or any idea about what to do, it ended up back with fucking Lee Nichols. Because what on earth? We've got to take a chance. You've got to have a bloody shot. I mean, the one point where it got oofed into Bojan and he took his toe out and it hit his toe and sort of trickled back to the goalkeeper. And we were all chanting it away and we've had a shot because that's as near as we look like we're ever going to get to actually getting a ball on target. Just lots of uffing and puffing and pissing around with it at the back. We need to show some urgency and like you said, they didn't seem to. They seemed to have settled for it.
You're right about Alfie May, though, Nick. There's not another League One team would not have Alfie May starting every, and I include Cardiff in that. There isn't another team wouldn't have May starting every game. You know, you look at Cardiff, they went away to Stockport, right up against it. Guess what they had on the bench? 6'4" giant. They wanged him up front. Guess what happened? Put some balls in the box. Bloke got him a goal at 94th minute. Yeah. We're still fucking passing it about on the halfway line between centre halves. So, you know, I think I'm going to, without wanting to go all happy clapper, you know, we must give context that had we won Saturday, we would have gone top, by the way. So, you know, I think we're not in, this isn't the end of the world, is it? But I think our concern, as you saying, is we've seen this before. It's already a trend, you know, twice as a trend, three away games in a row, and we're burning opportunities to put a bit of distance between us and the rest of the pack. And as we get into the long winter months, it's only going to get tougher. So yeah, I'm unique. How on earth, you know? I know Joe Taylor scored a couple of goals in the cup, but you know, Alfie May, the man's been the top scorer in League One 2-3 seasons or something. I mean, the guy's a natural League One goal scorer. I'm not fucking playing him. I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers. But yeah, I guess if we don't see some change soon, or you know, people are talking in the comments about a plan B. Killer's a tactical expert. I think you know, plan A and plan B are not. It's not rocket science. This fucking stuff, is it? No, Cardiff have already got a man on the bench, as Wrexham had last year, as Birmingham had last year, where when the going gets tough, you wang him on up top, and we've decided that's what we're not going to do. That we're too busy talking about player psychology and viewing training in the helicopter and fucking all of that nonsense. My mate was a Bradford fan, sent me a message saying, "I've just listened to Grant's interview. It's like he swallowed an FA coaching manual." And if I've got a worry, that remains my worry, that we're going to out-principle ourselves here, and it could cost him. I think
it's an ego thing, guys. I think it's an ego thing when you come to the big striker thing. Sorry to jump in there, right? No, but I think Town have an issue culturally where we think we're bigger than everybody else in this division, and that we can do it our way because we can bring in the best guys and we'll be fine. That's not how you win in League One. Birmingham do like you say. Sometimes your plan breaks down, and when it breaks down, because again, players are inconsistent at this level, you need that big unit guy just to come on and just fuck shit up, as simple as that sounds. But that's what it is. Everybody else does it. Yet we are now in our second season in this division, still thinking, we don't need that. Nah, it's fine. We'll be fine. We're doing it our way. Nobody else does it this way and does it well. Ipswich got up on the back of it, but at that point, Ladapo was a bit better than he was for us, and he managed to score a few. We have nothing. Bojan does look a bit of a unit nowadays, to be fair to him. He's definitely at that gym, isn't he? But he's not going to be that player, because I do think he can be useful in certain, and I thought he was all right when he came on. But he's not that big unit that's going to just take out two centre-backs. But that's what you need. A big guy comes on, both centre-backs have to take him because they're going to lose the headers or have got a risk of losing it. And that's where it creates that space for everybody else. But only Huddersfield Town going to a division in League One, right? Spend as much money as we did, but miss the most important piece when you're looking at every other team that's been successful. Like we said last year, all three teams that went up had a big unit. Every single one of them had that. Not change your pace, but change your style, change your focal point. We're going forward. Yet we've gone into this and thought, oh, no, we're fine. We don't need it. And I just don't understand it, because we did this in January last year. Got it wrong in that we brought in Charles, that only seems to be able to get a game for Northern Ireland and our under-21s, but he did score, so fair play, Dion, mate. That's actually quite a step forward for us. Maybe that's going to help us in the next few weeks. But we still didn't think we needed one. I don't understand it. I look at all the transfer dealings and the guys that we brought in filled specific holes. We kind of get it. But why we don't have a big unit striker to change stuff? It's not a complex plan B. You don't have to do any training with it. Just a big guy and you ping it to him if you're chasing a game. You create that carnage, you create that chaos. You don't have to work on design players the same. You just have that option. And we are the only team, I think, that I can remember in recent history in this division where they've spent quite a bit of money chucking players in here, there, and everywhere, but still haven't gone out and got that big guy. And honestly, I know it's really early because it's September, but 1st of January, we need it now. I just didn't expect me to be here, September 17th, talking about already needing something in January when you consider how our season started. But we are very one-dimensional. And that's fine if one-dimensional football works every time, but it's already evident that it won't for us this year.
Problem is, Ian, though, again, we're playing one up top. We've got Joe Taylor. We've got Alfie May. So you're trying to sell it to a big striker. Yeah, come and join our club. You'll be on bench all the time. You might come on for maybe 5 minutes. Who's gonna jump at that? This is the problem with signing fucking 15 million strikers, like what Big Kev wanted us to do. So we brought in, Dion Charles, who we're going to be stuck with, who probably won't do out. Joe Taylor and Alfie May, exactly the same sort of stature, slightly different in the way that they work. But when you're only playing with one up top, there's only so much you can do. So I think that's part of the problem. I think trying to sell it to a big striker, because everyone wants a big striker, but how are you going to get him here when you can't guarantee him regular game time? I think that's going to be the problem. But you're right, that's what we need. Because even with Bojan, who isn't brilliant, although I do think some of his link-up play is okay, he can't finish. I mean, for goal, he went to hit it from corner into nearly open goal and miscued it. I mean, luckily, Redmond was on hand to put it in. But we even looked better with Bojan on field because it was just a different option. It was something different for him to worry about. Well, we don't, like you said, we just keep playing the same way, expecting for things to change. But why would it change when we've been playing the same way for 70 minutes and they've coped with it comfortably? It
forces them to change. That's the thing as well. When you chuck 2 guys up top or you chuck your big guy up top, it forces their game plan to adjust to what you're doing. So if the game's going one direction, and it was on Saturday, Bradford were the better team, we didn't change anything to shift that flow of football. And that's the part that I have the issue with, Nick. And that's why I'm with you. I'd go League Two, National League, bring in another Kyle Hudlin. It can't be as bad as last time. But this just some sort of option. Now, Hurst has mentioned something here on the comments that Barnsley and Bradford both beat us without a big man up top. You don't need a big man in every game. No one's saying that. Sometimes it will work having your small lads up top. It's just when it doesn't work and you need to change things, being flexible is what keeps you at the top of this division. Lyndon Dykes did it for Birmingham. Let's say Wrexham had about 58 different lads they could bring on at the end of the game, mainly Fletcher, to change it for them. It just, again, it breaks up the game plan for the team you're playing. And if your players are then individually better that we think ours are, that's when you gain advantage again. It's just we're doing ourselves a disservice here by not having that option. And I think that's where I'm at with it.
Thing is, with Barnsley and Bradford, they were both way more physical, way more aggressive, and they wanted it more. It were men against boys, both games, and that's a real worry. Even this early in the season, when you've got players like your Ledsons, who's Championship captain material coming in, I'm sorry, but Ledson, he's been a massive letdown for me so far. I don't know what he did on Saturday. He just, as soon as that goal went in, he just disappeared. And this is where you need your leaders getting into people. Come on and gene up the crowd, and they were doing. Andy's spot on. They were doing that against Reading. I thought we'd solved that at Reading away. We kind of had that, and it looked like we've got some of them leaders on the pitch. But Ledson, for me, he just went missing, and you can't have that in a derby. Ruben Ruskin on that left hand side, terrible. But I don't think it's his fault because he shouldn't be there. That's not his position. We're just shoehorning him into a position he shouldn't be in. Rowan struggled all day with Northville. I thought he was their best player, to be honest. Again, just a bit of pace, just went past him with ease. Harness, again, this is supposed to be one of your leaders. No, did nothing, just kept cutting inside like he always does and giving ball away. Didn't really do anything after 15 minutes. It's a real worry. I think this game was built for someone like Kasumu. With it, I mean, he can't pass, but bless him. But his energy and his work rate and driving it up the pitch, I would have much preferred him to have started. Kane is all right with his passing, but I mean, he's not blessed with pace, is he? Let's put it nicely. So I think we should have had a bit more dynamism in there. And maybe someone like McGuane, when he comes back, might give us a bit more dynamism. I'm not sure. I don't know what he brings. I haven't seen enough of him. But, I mean, who would you start, Ian? So we'll go on to Burton game. But what's your ideal midfield at the moment with what we've got available?
I think everyone knows where I'm going with this, but last year the best midfield we had was Kane, was David Kasumu, and was Ben Wiles. And if you look at the results of it, it proves it. I think we went 10 out of 11 or something ridiculous last year. Basically all the wins last year came with those three playing in midfield. And again, you don't have to look at individual parts in midfield. You look at how the unit works. So if somebody goes apparently missing or whatnot for a game, that's fine. But Castledine put a great performance, I won't say great performance in, but it looked busy. Yet we still conceded 3 and looked terrible in midfield. You have to look how the balance is when it comes to midfields. And I'd have those 3 personally. Ledson and Nick. I understand what he does. I do understand what he does, and I can understand what he doesn't do. The problem is Herbie Kane also does similarly little in certain aspects of his game that Ledson does. Kane can ping a ball really nicely, but defensively neither like to track a man. Both of them don't like picking players up if they don't have to mark up. Ledson likes nailing people every now and again, but he rarely man marks anybody. And Kane definitely doesn't want to do that because traditionally he played higher up the field. I think the balance with those two in tough games is all wrong. I like Kasumu. I really don't understand what Lee Grant's issue is with David Kasumu. They were pre-season. It took him ages before he even got a bit of a game time in pre-season, didn't it? It looked like he'd be on the way out. And certain players, again, seem to get picked week in and week out, probably because he thinks it fits the system better. I understand that. People have their own preferences when it comes to players in the way they want to play football. But when I'm looking at David Kasumu, I think he's as good as we've got when it comes to playing in that kind of holding midfield role, and you want to get the ball, turn around and drive it forward and move through the thirds. I think Kasuma's the best we have at it. I think McGuane will be good when he comes in. I quite enjoyed his little cameo at Blackpool. I know he was so deep, but he looked like a tidy player on the ball. He's going to have to adjust how he plays because you don't have a Barcelona-esque defensive midfielder that ends up playing as a sweeper at times. We need to shift that a little bit, but he looks nice and tidy on the ball too. It's just, again, this Kane and Ledson mix isn't working. I thought Castledine was good, but I thought he was very high and didn't link up with those two at all. I don't know where the issue is on that. It could be that the centre-backs were so deep, so the gap in the midfield was massive because our centre-backs are older than Andy and Gaz Kane, probably slower if they were playing at the back line for Town than those boys. But there's just issues in that midfield, and you've got to try and change it until it works. I'm just not a big fan of rotating midfields. So when we do get something that works, stick with it. You can change the finishers. You can change your skill players, your technical guys on the outside. Fine. Don't change your centre-backs and don't change your centre midfielders. And maybe that's another traditionalism with myself. But if it works, don't mess about with it because you don't always see why it works, but the results prove that it does. So for me, Nick, long-winded answer, but I'd have the 3 from last year.
Well, would you play Kasumu and Ledson together? Because I think, when you look at what we've got on the bench, playing with 2 defensive centre midfielders, if you want to call them that, for an hour, is not necessarily. I would have been quite happy to see Kasumu and Ledson on Saturday.
Maybe
that would have been a really wise choice, considering how they play with all that width and all that pace. We've got such a strong bench. As he's already shown in pretty much every home game, if we stay in the game for 60, 70 minutes, we're going to win the game. We've got such strength in depth to come on. So, I wouldn't mind to see Ledson and Kasumu because, as you said, Kasuma's way more mobile. All his injury was, he's way more mobile than Ledson. He's the only one who can take a ball, as you said, kill a turn, and drive from midway in our half to the edge of their box. He's the only one that can do it. So, I can't believe I'm calling for the return of David Kasumu. I didn't think after all the money we'd spent and all the players we'd signed, that's where we'd be. But I guess that's where we are at the minute, innit? I think, I think Grant really needs to find a settled core. And with Ukele, we've got so many players. He's not going to be able to put them all in the team all at the same time. But he has to find a settled core. He can't keep swapping centre halves. That's my pet hate. You've got to have every successful team ever has had a robust centre half partnership, always, and he seems to think that that's not that important. So I'd like him trying to find a settled core. It's a lot of debate on social media. Doesn't he want to upset people? Is he too nice? Maybe that's his inexperience. Maybe that's the way he liked to be managed. He liked to be informed what was going on and try and get his share. I mean, he was a goalkeeper who spent probably most of his career with respect to the guy on the bench because he was at big clubs where there were big goalkeepers in front of him in lots of occasions. So I find it all a bit all a bit strange. And I never thought about, you said, Andy, about him thinking it's a learning phase. I never thought about that. And maybe there's an element of that. Well, the problem is, if we get to 17, 18 games and we've lost 6, fucking dead. We're not getting automatic promotion. And I'm sure if you ask Kev what his expectation is, it's got to be automatics. Kev cannot be thinking, "Oh, we're going to get in playoffs." Despite what he might say, he's got to have an expectation of top 2. And the last thing we want is another fucking manager binning off. That is not what, because if he goes, you might right, he's enough.
Yeah,
I think he keeps repeating the phrase learning. The last 3 or 4 press conferences, he's talked about his learning. My take on Kasumu is that his touch isn't good enough for him to get into that midfield, despite the fact that he's brilliant at driving the ball and he brings the energy and the physicality. I thought we improved when he came on. I thought, well, when he played against Burnley, he had, he was harness levels on Saturday in terms of his touch. It just bounced off him all the time. And I think that might have sealed his fate for a while, that he just wasn't considered to be good enough. There were rumours about him, looking to move on because he wasn't going to get an option. I think McGuane is the guy that is probably going to play the Kasumo role, but as we all know, we haven't seen him apart from 20 minutes of passing it sideways at Blackpool against 10 men. So I completely agree. I think we need to get Alves and Castledine in the squad as often as we can, the team as often as we can. I think we need May up top. Or who else goes around him? It's Ledson or Kane. It's not both. Ledson's disappointed me in terms of, we had all about this physical player who was gonna snap people, and he was gonna. I can't remember a single challenge where he's whumped anybody up in the air, and that's what we thought we were getting a midfield enforcer, and he certainly wasn't that on Saturday. Harry Kane, Herbie Kane has played the quarterback role quite well, spraying it about a little bit up to this point, but he's one of these that can dip in and dip out of games. So whether you can afford to have both of those guys doing a similar role, I'm not sure. But I think Cass is, yes, in the comment, we are League One, absolutely, we are League One, but we've bought players that are better than League One, apparently. McGuane's played for Barcelona. He's played alongside Messi, so he's got to be as good as Messi. So let's get him in the team. I'm being facetious, but you know what I mean. We have bought quality to phase the likes of Kasumu out. So if he's our salvation, there's some issues with what we've signed, and I think we've just got to. I'm all for giving him a bit more time and a bit more patience, but it's time to get some results now. We've played Burton 4 times and they've beaten us twice, including that awful 3-0 away from home. So don't anybody be thinking that when we rock up on Saturday that this is going to be a piece of piss to beat Burton, because they spoiled the living shit out of it when they came in 2017 and got a 98th minute 1-0 winner. They've humbled us at their place. Absolutely no way on this earth is that going to be an easy game. Not a chance. But we've got to stand up for me, and we've got to make a statement that we've learned from Saturday, and we are going to start putting teams that are in the bottom half of the league to the sword. And if we don't, I'm going to, like Gaz has said, lost 3 league games already. How many league games did Birmingham lose all last season? Yeah, they were a freak team in the division.
3, wasn't it?
But three in total.
All season.
All season. That, yeah. And we are apparently their equivalent this year in terms of the money that we've spent. So we've got a bit of work to do, but I think the players have got to start playing for Grant, and he's had his learning time now, so it's producing time.
By the way, I think at home we're going to be fine. I think we may only lose 1 or 2 at home all season. It's away from home. It's just rinse and repeat 3 games in a row, and he's demonstrated 0 fucking learnings from any of them. And that'll be the big test, won't it? The next couple of away games, if we get another 2 or 3-0 pumping and poor performances, well, I dread to think what the noise is going to be.
Thing is, guys, I have a little bit of sympathy for him to a point, because some of the performances have been individual mistakes as well. It's not just selection mistakes. Like you look at Barnsley, Owen Goodman handed him that game. We were in the game until that happened. And then we were just starting to go into the game after Barnes had a good start, and then he does that. Well, when your keeper fucking fumbles it, gives them a goal, and then gets sent off so early in the game, it's always going to be uphill battle. We had a mad spell at Blackpool where we started really well, scored, and then for whatever reason, Watmore as a howler, and we just don't recover. And Lee Grant can't do all about that defending in added time, conceding 2 goals like that and at first half. That's down to the players. So as much as I don't like his team selection, and I do think he needs to change more in games, I think the players have to take a lot of responsibility for this as much as him, because they're letting us down at the moment by doing stupid mistakes away from home. Is it a pressure thing? Is it a mentality? Is it a fatigue thing? Is it just lack of cohesion? Just keep, a lot of people are saying in the comments too much rotation going on, and yeah, we've had a few injuries, but I mean the thing is, like you say about him not wanting to upset anybody, but we're going to be playing 50, 60 games over the course of the season. So people's going to get suspensions. And by the way, that's another 5 yellow cards for collection on Saturday. So we're not going to be far off people getting suspended either. So there's going to be injury suspensions. So there's going to be gaps for people to come in. So just pick your best team and the rest will take care of itself. But it's this constant tinkering and pissing about. Just he needs to get a settled 11. May for me needs to start no matter what, because we're a million times better with him at team. I think ideally probably Watmore and Lowe back, but if Watmore's injured, I mean, where's Bolker? Does he have a case to come in if he likes players that can pass it out front back? I mean, Bolker can't defend, but he can pass it around. So is he? Is that an option maybe to come in? Or is he completely frozen out? I don't know. But is the formation right? Do the squad suit a different formation? I'm not going to say 3-5-2, Ian, but do the formation suit, is there another formation that this squad's better suited to? Are we getting the best out of them playing in this formation? I'm not sure we are, mate. Because it just annoys me that whether it's Taylor or May, they look completely isolated in large parts of the game.
4-3-3. Now he's brought Redmond and Alves in. I think we're equipped to play 4-3-3 if we wanted to. And that then gives you a bit more security in the centre of the park and allows 3 blocks to just go and do what the hell they want. Doesn't solve, for people who are screaming out for 2 strikers, don't really solve it, does it? But with Alves and Redmond, you've got guys that have and can play wide. Harness, I guess, too, can join in. And it also means you can then take Ruskin out, can't you? You're not relying on Ruskin high up. You've got more youth and you've got more legs. So I could see us playing 4-3-3, but I'm not sure he's for changing. He likes his 4-2-3-1, doesn't he? So
it's not even that though, guys. It's the lopsided nonsense. It's Ruskin's high and wide on one side, and Harness never goes high and wide on the other. Honestly, defend. I cannot believe we are in 2025. I'll get it right. And there's a team that plays the way we're playing, and expecting it not to be easy to defend against. It's unbelievable. I honestly find the way we're set up in that final third silly. In the Ruskin is like playing with 10 men at times, and we've not changed it. I think this formation is fine, but you have to get the right personnel in. I think it's reliant on a fluid 3 behind the striker on his own. I think you can have one up there, and it's nearly like a diamond 4. It becomes if you've got 3 lads behind it, are all ACMs. They can all kind of run in all different directions, and I've given the license to do so. It's a nightmare to defend against, which is how I like to set up my teams. I like to make it as awkward as possible for them. We're doing the exact opposite at the moment. It's really, really predictable. We know exactly what time they're going to put out in that top third, and other teams that are playing us know how to stop it because it's exactly as they expect. That's the issue. I don't actually think changing formations is necessary. Of course, it would solve it because you wouldn't be able to play this way. But this one-dimensional way we are attacking at the moment is just, it's schoolboy. That's what it is. It's amateur. I think that's what the part that really bothers me about it. And until we stop that, I don't think it actually matters too much what formation we play. It's that weird lopsidedness that it worked for. So then we're doing the same thing. I find that so simplistic and wrong, and we've got to stop it.
Thing is, Ian, with Ipswich, they have bloody Leif Davis that can put bloody ball on a sixpence in penalty box. We've got Ruskin. That's a difference. We still replace Miller, have we? We're a season in, and when Miller inevitably has his 20-game absence because he gets injured, We're completely redundant on that side going forward.
Yeah, Jed's made a good
him.
comment here. Jed Robinson on the comments has said our Cups team look better, but then Ruskin doesn't always play in the Cups either, does he? We don't play the same lopsided Harness and Ruskin, and you wonder why we look better going forward. There's your answer.
But I do feel sorry to him, you know, to a point for him, because he's a defender that's been asked to play in a more forward position. I'd rather have Ashia up there. He would have offered more on Saturday, not even on bench. Ben Wiles, like you say, he's still our most productive midfielder in terms of goals and assists, not even on bench. It's just, he's not going to win any support with the players if the moment they do something bad, they get dropped from the squad entirely.
I'll tell you what I really like, Jay Sway. I think he's really got something about him. Now, whether he's nowhere near experienced enough for a season at League One, he probably would be a candidate for a loan out at Christmas. But that kid's got something. He's got skill and he wants the ball. He's the almost opposite of the Ruskin. I don't know whether he's left or right-footed. I've got a feeling in my head that he's played on the left, although I can remember seeing him in Austria playing on the right. But he's just got something about him, and I think the energy that he could bring, because he wants the ball and he wants to try and take players on, he could offer us something. But I don't think Grant will move away from 4-2-3-1. That's what he likes. The lopsided thing has worked for other teams, so I think he thinks it's going to work for him, which I can understand. Relatively rookie manager is going to go with the examples that have been set to him in the past, and he's going to try those. So I don't think he will change. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
It's a real good point, because I've watched all the cup games and I've been really impressed with Vost. Vost has done the Ledson role better than Ledson.
Yeah.
Real simple, give it, get it, and then occasionally pops up in the box. You know, I think that lad, if we gave him, I think he's somebody I look at. I think he's got real. I think Sway's more exciting, Andy, and he catches the eye a bit like Cameron Asher has. But I've been really impressed with Dan Vost. He's gone about his business really quietly, done it, and played really well every time he's played. I haven't seen him have a bad game yet. So it's not like there aren't other alternatives, but Lee Grant doesn't strike me as a bloke that's going to go, bollocks, let's throw two kids in who haven't got a league debut yet. He doesn't. I'm not sure that's where he is at the minute, because Ashley now's out of the squad by the look of it. Now we've got Redmond and Alves and Castledine. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near the rest of the season unless there's some injuries.
But it's promising, isn't it, for future that we've got these youngsters. But they are going to have to play at some point, either on loan or for us. Otherwise, it's just a waste, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, anyway, in summary, the Bradford game, fucking pants. I don't really know what else you can say about it. It reminded me very much of the Tamworth game. You know, not to be disrespectful to Bradford. I'm not saying they're like Tamworth, but
I thought you were saying disrespectful to Tamworth. For a minute,
but it's the same sort of thing. Crowd massively up for it, team massively up for it, giving everything, and then us fucking empty sacks, fucking stroll up thinking we're going to win this season, we're going to pass it about, and then they get absolutely turned over, and rightly so. They're a fucking disgrace, man. They've got to buck up, and that moves us on to Burton at home, because, like you say, Andy, you're right, mate. They've got to make a statement here, because that were completely unacceptable in a big game like that, in a derby game. So we're all going expecting a response. Now, Burton, the 22nd, they've only won one game all season, conceded 10 goals and only scored 5. Surely this is a game we have to win at home. And you're right, Andy. There ain't any easy games with Town, is there? And particularly Burton over the years have been a bit of a banana skin. It's that sort of team where everyone just expects us to win and then we don't, and then we're all even more miserable. But they play 3-5-2, so we've got to be careful we're not going to be overrun in that midfield. But I think they're just going to come and sit deep and they're going to sit deep and just try and counter. And I think we've got to try and start well. We can't have another half like we did against Peterborough, like we did against Doncaster. We've got to come out the blocks, try and get an early goal and try and kick on from there. But, Gaz, what are you expecting, mate? And what's your prediction?
Well, I think the last time we had a team, when Peterborough came to Town, they were in exactly the same boat, weren't they? Not won a game, hardly scored a goal, and then they decided after 20 minutes, fucking hell, this lot don't look that arsed. Managed to get right into the game and cause a load of problems. So we need an early goal. I think we desperately need an early goal to settle everybody down, settle the team down, and also mean that Burton can't just sit in a deep block for 5 minutes and try and it's on the break. But in fairness to Peterborough, that's how they started, and then we gave them so much encouragement. Before you know it, they took control of the game for 20 minutes. So, there are no easy games in professional football and all of that. But let's be honest, this should be one. If the attitude's right and the mentality of the Town players is right, this is a game they should win and win comfortably. But it depends. The mentality of performance at home has yielded results. So let's fingers crossed we keep the same, but actually we can back it up with a bit more confidence. I'd like to see us play with a bit, get a couple of goals and just try and get some confidence going. It's an extra way, I think, the game after.
Yep.
It's a fucking long way. We do not want to be going to that with a negative result, do we? So
no.
I do think we'll win. I just hope that it's not a repeat of the Peterborough game where we let an opponent gain some confidence and grow into the game. We've got to get a goal early doors, and then we've got to pump to the sword, because when we do sing, and we have done at points in the season, we look unstoppable. We look like we could do somebody 6 or 7 one day. But you've got to do it. You've got to string it together. You've got to do it for 90 minutes, which we seem incapable of at the minute. So long answer: Town 2, Burton 0.
Ian, I know you've got your pre-match show, mate, so I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask you for any details.
It's all right, Nick. I have this down. I have this down as a critical game in the scoreline. It doesn't really matter as long as we win. I think we have to win. And if we don't this season, the outlook of it changes quite a lot. I think losing to Bradford isn't the end of the world. I think the manner of it has worried a few people. Like I said, the honeymoon period is over. Even Andy Kay is not grasping the nettles the same as he was a few weeks ago by the sound of him. I've never heard you so animated and aggressive, Andy. I love it, mate. Honestly, we've done this 5 years, and I think you've been frothier. You've been my Canal Boat Diaries for today. Your approach to this podcast is what I want to see Town put on that field on Saturday, mate. You've helped me past last Saturday because of it.
You forget my age. You forget how long Bradford have been a pain in the arse for me.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it, Andy.
It doesn't mean as much to you, but going back to the early 70s and all that type of stuff when I first started watching Town, hated them then, hate them now. So that's why it's a bit deep.
But if we win this Saturday, if we win Saturday, it doesn't make it forgettable, of course not. But you can move forward and you can move on. Our game's not decided about by losing at Bradford. But I think onward guards, I think our own form's good. It's been no problem just yet. But these 3 away games where we've been absolutely shocking now, it's kind of like, are we for real? Are we actually as good as we think we are? And I think if Burton come and do a number, and last year I went down to that game, didn't I? And we were absolutely awful. We were awful all game. Burton had our number. And now, a bit like Leyton Orient first game of the season, I think it was so important to win that game and win that game comfortably. It set the precedent, and I think it's carried us through to this point in moments in games where we've not been great, but we've had that little bit of more belief, like against Peterborough last week. I think if Peterborough were this week after Bradford and we go into their game and find ourselves 1-0 down, it's a different proposition than what we managed to get back into last time out at home against them. This is that kind of Leyton Orient first game of the season again, where we've had to restart a little bit. Learning period's over. Now we're into the real deal. We need to be at it, and we need a good performance and a win. And if that is 1-0, then fine, no problem. We had a 1-0 win against Stevenage. We're all pretty happy with that. Last year, we beat Stockport at home 1-0 when we needed one on Boxing Day, 29th of December. I can't remember when exactly it was, but we were around that time. And that were fine as well. 1-0 win's fine as long as you control the game and put a professional performance in. Town need to get back to that on Saturday. They need that more than they've needed at any point this season up until now, because like you say, exit away is tough, and then the 3 games after that are very, very tough. This is the one you've got to win. You have to win it. So I'm just hoping for Lee Grant and Town's sake that we do, because Town fans are pretty. I do actually think we're calmer than most of the fan bases. I know you don't feel it when you're in it, when you're a part of it. We aren't too knee jerk, but the feelings change somewhat after the defeat on Saturday, and this Saturday can't be another negative result, because it'll get not nasty, but it just changes the direction of things, I think, a lot more than people would expect it to. So no, it's got to be a town win.
It's not the defeat though, is it, mate? It's the manner of it. That's what's pissed everyone off. If it were all blood and thunder, end to end, everyone getting stuck in, and we lost 3-1, and it just wasn't our day. We had a couple off post, or people would be like, "Well, sometimes that happens, but we are improving and we can kick on." But it's the fact that we've just not fucking turned up again. In a big derby game, one team wanted it and one team didn't, and that's what pissed everyone off. But after that, after Exeter, we've got Stockport at home, Luton away, Bolton at home, and Wickham away. I mean, that's a tough run of fixtures. So if we don't get out against Burton, we're in a bit of bother. I think Grant's in a bit of bother there, because I can't see Kevin Nagle standing for it if we're in fucking 10th position come January, and we don't really want to be going looking for another manager again, do we? So
Mourinho's out of a job. Mourinho's out of a job.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's already rung, Andy. I'm sure he's already rung us asking about it, but we've said, no, mate, we'll hold off for now. We'll see how Lee does, and then we'll be in touch. Right. Jed says...
I'm still team Lee Grant. Sorry to jump in. Still 100% behind him. I think he's just got to show a little bit of learning now. While we're talking about Saturday, can I wish the walkers from the both doing the long and the short walk back for the Huddersfield Town Foundation all the best? I can't do it. I've had to withdraw with an old man ailment of a bad toe, which feels ridiculous, but I've got an ingrowing toenail that just will not cope with. I've got gout. I'm not sat here drinking red wine and eating, turkey and red meat to build up my level of gout. I haven't got gout.
Yeah, but you live in Barnsley, so if you've got a Victorian illness, it won't be a great surprise.
But I just do genuinely, because I know how tough that's going to be. That 25 miles up the hill and then down the hill is going to be. I know him, but if Booth is saying it's tough already, that walk, it's going to be proper tough. So if we can give them a big round of applause when they go around, what a shit reward that is. You walk 25 miles and then they make you walk a little bit further just to get a round of applause. Just fucking show the paces on the big screen and wheel them around in golf carts. That's what you should be doing anyway. But I wish them all the best, and I'll be back to it next year when my toes fixed.
Absolutely, Andy. Absolutely. Fucking players should have walked back from Bradford, shouldn't they? As a punishment, we should have made them walk back rather than get coach.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be the charity walk. Sorry, and I'm bloody glad it wasn't, because I wouldn't have fancied walking away from that ground in blue and white. I'm glad I were on a bloody bus. Never mind walking back with all them lads that were a bit lively. Anyway, sorry.
Can you imagine? You, Nick. Oh God, that would have been awful, wouldn't it? No, I was just saying. Jed Robinson says you're ruining my cornflakes, Nick. Give me something positive. I mean, I suppose. Look, we're 6th at table with 2 points off top, even though Cardiff have played a game more. Even though we've been dog shit for 3 away games, we're still well up there at the top. So I don't know what that says about this league, to be honest, but it's very close, and it's still only 8 games played. And there are teams that have started slow and that have come to the fore as the season's gone on. So we've just got, I mean, you look at Leyton Orient and how they started last season, and then they just went on an unbelievable run, didn't they? I'm not saying that's going to happen with us. I think the worrying thing is, he doesn't seem to be learning. I think we'll win most of his own games, like you said, Gaz, but away games, that's where it's going to be won and lost, isn't it? So we'll just have to see. Andy, you have a prediction, mate, for Burton?
1-0 Town. In off Alfie May's arse in the 89th minute to stop all the frothing from the cowshed.
I'm going to say, someone said, is it corner time here, the atmosphere is going to be dross on Saturday? I don't know, mate. I think we'll get behind them, but I think if we don't score and it's half time and it's 0-0, I think there's going to be a few bums twitching. I think it's going to be nervous. I don't think the atmosphere will be great then. But if we score early, of course we'll be right behind them. Of course we will anyway. But I've got an awful feeling about this one. I'm going to go 1-1 because I honestly, I just think Burton is one of them sides that we just don't do well against, and they've always had his number. They'll sit deep, make it compact, and they'll frustrate us. And I just something's telling me it's going to be a bad afternoon on Saturday.
Just have some consideration for Jed Robinson's cornflakes in Australia, will you please? Poor lads trying to get there and they're going soggier and soggier and soggier thanks to you and you won all draws.
I know, mate. And I always try and be positive. Like even last week I said Town to win because you want to be positive, but there's something about this game that I don't like. Because it's an easy winnable game on paper, this is exactly the sort of game that Town fuck up. I don't know, guys listening, what do you put your predictions in, guys? See what you think. Stephen Shepherd says 2-0 Town. I mean, it'd be nice to get a clean sheet after conceding so many.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice for Lee Nichols because his shit goes left, right and centre since he's come in. I think it's last game before Owen Goodman comes in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nick, is Gary Boyer still their manager? Have a look at Gary Boyer? He looks like Andy Kay if he shaved
Yeah,
his
he is.
beard off, by the way.
Yeah, he's still the manager. Yeah.
He looks like you if you shaved your beard off, Gary Boyer. He's miserable as well.
He's just like you, Andy. He's
just
totally
like
knackered as well.
I'm here for that's me. I have no tactical input. I'm just here because I'm funny, apparently. So somebody on this podcast said,
"Yeah, don't believe that." But yeah, if you shave your beard off,
don't drink it on cold, then, big one.
Well, have a look. I think for the Burton, if we do a Burton follow-up podcast, you should shave your beard.
I'm googling now.
I want you to see if you look like Gary Boyer.
Well, when we played football together, I didn't have a beard then, so just go back and have a look at some pictures. Surely we had some pictures taken at World Net. I don't look like him. I do not look like Gary Boyer. Never in a billion years do I look like Gary Boyer.
I tell you, Jack, he is. If he shaved his beard off, he looks like Gary Boyer. Fact.
Not having it.
Stephen Shepherd said.
Hello. Yeah, out too, yeah. I'll have a pint of what Connor Time's been drinking, look.
5-0 Town. That's what it should be, though, shouldn't it? That's what it should be, not to be arrogant. But look at the money we've spent. Look at the quality we've got. Look at the technical ability. We're at home. It should be 4-5-0. But it's Town, innit? And
remember Tom Lees. Don't forget Tom Lees.
Don't be expected to win every game, yeah.
Don't expect to win every game. You've got to be realistic, boys.
No, but it'd be nice to win some, mate. What is that saying? Don't expect to win every game. We don't, but expect to win the ones you should win. And this is certainly what Nick Jenkins says 2-0. I think that's probably more like it, mate. It'd be nice. A nice one. I'd take 1-0. I'd take 1-0. Man City score, boys. Jed Robinson says, yes, we've got Man City on the horizon as well. I mean, well, I can't see any other scenario than getting absolutely annihilated, but I don't really know. Guys, anything to say on that? I hadn't even thought about that, to be honest. How that raging.
Third round, though, isn't it? It's only third round, so Man City might not put out proper first team, and I don't know. We're all right. We play pretty free. We're at home. Shit house a penalty win. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, boys? And I only got my tickets for it today. So anyone listening that ain't got tickets yet, get your tickets because it's pretty full. I don't know if it's going to sell out, but we're pretty close to it already. It's a good game though. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like this Burton game, there's a bit of pressure, a bit of stress in there in it, and that we need to win, right? Because we're struggling at the moment, just a touch, and it doesn't want to get any worse. But with Man City at home, who cares? If you win, lose, or draw, it doesn't really matter. You can play free. Mm. And this is the thing, when you're a team at the top of the division, every league game's so cutthroat. I found it last year managing. I hated it. We won at 1.17 games in a row, and it was so stressful. And the weight of carrying that, even against teams that were awful and that knew you were going to beat, that were heavy on my little amateur back. Never mind this kind of level where there's so much money involved, so much analysis. They work on it from Monday morning through Sunday evening. It's really stressful doing that. So having a game where you can kind of just give it a go really helps. I think it can help team morale, as long as you're not pumped. Of course not, but it'll be a nice evening for us all. I just hope the kiosks don't sell out of everything by pre-half time as usual at the moment when it comes to decent sized attendances. But no, who knows? I just hope to see Dan Voss put in another shift. Although last time we played Man City, is that when Brodie Spencer had his debut for us in a game?
0-0. Is that when I think Mark Hudson played in centre half?
Yeah, that was it. And Brodie Spencer looked. No, I don't know if it was 0-0, but I know Brodie Spencer looked half decent, didn't he, when he played?
We were 0-0, then we went to their place, didn't we?
We got pumps 5-1, didn't we? Harry, what's his face, scored, didn't he? And, yeah.
I'm having nightmares thinking about Sorensen against Doku. But,
I don't think Doku's coming, mate. I think you might need to temper your expectations. Who's on the Man City bus? It won't involve Doku.
I won't say Haaland, will we? I don't think.
Yeah, will we, El? Will we, El? Corner Time says we'll beat Man City because they don't start with a B. And unfortunately, Burton does. So let's hope that it's not 4 in a row. I think that's it, guys. I can't stand it anymore. We've gone an hour and a half, and it's been so depressing on it in an otherwise reasonable season. But I'm just fed up. I'm fed up of us just not turning up to games, especially derby games. It's embarrassing when the other side looks like they give a shit and you don't. It's not acceptable. I can accept losing, but I can't accept the manner of it. I think it was disgusting. So I hope we learn from it and kick on and get the win against Burton. Just to mention, Andy Takes That Chance. They're looking to reach 1,000 Patreon members. Ian, I don't know if you know where you're at, mate, but the members will get exclusive content. So please have a look at it. Go on the website, have a look, and sign up. And listen out for Killer and Matt's preview show against Burton if you're doing one, mate. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we will be. And on that, the Patreon helps us because running podcasts now is very, very expensive. It's 46 quid a month alone just for the software for us to be able to stream this live. That's not including Twitter affiliation and all the other things you've got to pay for, including equipment and whatnot. It just stops us having to waste our time going and trying to get advertisements and in other ways. So it really, really helps us out if you can sign up to the Patreon. That would be great. Thank you. But yes, there will be a drive-in on Burton. And can't tell you how excited I am to go and sit through 3 Burton games tomorrow to prepare for that one. So yes, they'll be out that tomorrow or Friday.
Excellent stuff. Jed Robinson says, "Have a good week, boys. Stay positive, Nate." I am positive, mate. I'm always positive. I'm just pissed off. I'm positive but pissed off after Saturday. But listen, we go and get the win against Burton. We go to X2 and win. We could well be top at table, and it's all forgotten in it. So ears open, eh? But thank you so much, guys, for all your contribution. It means a lot to us. It makes the pod. That's what it's there for. If you want to come on, message us, come on and have a chat with us. But we do appreciate your comments and your questions, guys. It's brilliant, and we'll be back after the Burton game, and hopefully 3 points and us back in that top 3. We'll see you soon. Take care, guys, and for now, up the town.